The takeaways out of the sessions of the content creator and stuff like that is that AI is huge and it's something that's impending on everybody. It's not only just like certain genres or like it's not only like music, it's also like music, film, it's all sorts of things. So that was like the biggest takeaway, and that's what I feel like a lot of the panels talked about this year was a lot of AI stuff, a lot of, and it kind of goes everywhere, I think. So in those sessions, I did learn some things, but really it was just like more general knowledge, as in just learning like how like I really enjoy film, and that's why the film kind of spoke a lot more to me. And just kind of talk when we were just sitting there watching and listening to the people talk about it, I got a lot more sense of like it doesn't have to be like you need 5 cameras, 6 cameras, all these different cameras. You just need like one, and just know how to work like certain angles, certain rooms, and things of that nature. So my takeaways from the films is I didn't go to any too much of the I didn't go to any red carpet events. Let me rephrase that. I didn't go to any of the red carpet events mainly because there was just everybody there. It was too packed. Probably just gonna run into it, and it's like I can watch that later, especially their big films like Roadhouse was gonna be coming out. I can watch that later, things like that. I went to a lot of the smaller film stuff, so I went to the Draft House instead, the one off of South Lamar. So I went there to watch a lot of the smaller films, and I stayed there to listen to their panels and stuff like that as well. And like I said, going back to the question before, what I got out of it was that a lot of these people that started small are still small, but they got a lot of funding and backed up by people that also saw their vision, and they also didn't lose their vision. Like what they set, what they wanted, that's what they went and did. And again, it wasn't like huge crews, and it wasn't like really big production value. It felt like it when you watched it, but in reality, it was only like so much. Like there was one film, and I really wish I remembered the name because it was French, but it was a vampire film, and they told us that they did it in like a weekend, about a weekend or two, and that's like a really fast turnaround to make about an 8 to 10 minute film. Is like to me insane. There was another time where again I forgot the film because it was in a language I couldn't say, but it was basically talking about survivor's guilt, and in that film, their setting down in the basement also got changed from the basement to like a boat, but it was still the same room, and they changed it and they made it look like 2 different things, which was to me like insane that they were even able to think about stuff like that in different ways to like make it look different, to give a different feel. As well as like some of the other like smaller films, like I said, some of them were like set in like maybe like 2 different places. So I'm like, whoa, that's like cool. You don't need a lot of different places. A lot of people think that, and even as me, like as a content creator and as like a film enthusiast myself, I think that like you need all these different buildings, but in reality, it's like you only need like one room, and you just play and move and do all that. So I think out of all that, it helped me go and do like my school projects now and realize like I don't need all this. I just need this, and then I can transform it into something even better. And I feel more confident knowing that I've seen that they started with such a low production, and where I'm at right now gives me more confidence that I can get to that level and even be better, hopefully. Really, I didn't fall in love with the music as what most people did. I just kind of, I wouldn't say avoid it, but it wasn't my forte. Like I said, a lot of the film and stuff like that was more for me. So music, I went and did I enjoy some of it? Yes. It's just like super hard for me to get really into like that, especially with artists that are smaller and stuff that I don't really know too much about, and I'm not as well versed and kept up with. That's where I found like my issue and realized like, man, I'm not well kept up with like smaller things coming up, which is a bad thing in my opinion because I would love to support more like locally and more smaller people. But yeah, I just didn't get too much out of it. Was it fun? Yes, but it is what it is. So, other than our group, I did not make too many connections other than like sitting there and just conversating with people and like talking, either telling stories over some food, or just asking how their experiences were at South by Southwest because it was my first year. So, just getting a general feel for that, but it wasn't anything like too much connections or internships or things along those lines. Yes, and it gave me, like I said, especially with the film, I got a lot more confidence in shooting film, and with that, also doing interviews because right now I'm doing a project for another class for visual storytelling, and I feel really great about, especially our little teaser. I feel really good about, and so I feel like with my degree, I feel like I'm on the right path to be creating more content and hopefully taking some of that enthusiasm to other places as well.
Is there anything you would like to add?
So I was going to add to like the connections, although I didn't make any connections outside of our group. Inside our group, we made really good connections. So actually, me and Rachel Brown, that was part of our group, we got along really well, found out that we both have an interest in cars. So eventually I made my way over there to Harris Hill Raceway here in San Marcos. So right now I'm working with her and hopefully eventually get moved into a position where I can help her with creating content, hopefully for the racetrack, and hopefully build up their presence a little bit more. They do have an Instagram page and stuff, but it's not as much as you would think that one would be, especially for a racing and stuff like that. So I think with that, I would love to build up there and eventually turn to Circus of Americas and hopefully turn into other racing stuff. Like I said, I'm mainly a car fan and, like I said, film person. So anything along those lines kind of mean a lot. So if I could like start there and move my way there, I'm happy with it, you know. But like I said, I can see my usefulness of my degree, if that makes sense, especially with all my other classes stuff going on. I feel like I've got a lot of trades that I could take and use, and I felt a lot of them apply at South by, whether it was like not like full interviews by myself, but like little mini interviews, like asking people certain things, you know, and things along those lines. I felt like I could have took more advantage of South by Southwest, but that week was hard, and after the week was even harder. It was an experience, and I definitely enjoyed it, but it definitely hit me like a truck.